Welcome to the Nagual Zone. I'm Anaam. Today we talk about the macro in our life, which starts with family, community, city or town, whatever village, moves on to states, then nation, then the plane, the world we live in, and the races, and then the human collective, right? The species itself. These are the increasing levels of macro, and we're gonna go all the way to the human level. What affects all of humanity, of which you are a part. So first things, let's get something very, very clear, very clear. Look, I've come across this strange idea, which is born out of of two things, desperation and boredom. This idea, many who can fancy themselves to be warriors, Toltec warriors, and so on and so forth, they have this either unspoken or spoken or obvious agenda in their life to eventually somehow escape their life as it is into the death defier, defying death, or become a crow and fly away, or become a snail and crawl away perhaps, or whatever insane ideas these warriors have in their head. I've come across this. Or disappear into different dimensions and do this and do that, and it's all very Harry Potter style business. Let me make something very clear right now. You don't get to walk away from this moment, all right? You don't get to become a little fucking gnat and bzzz away because you're such a badass Toltec warrior. You don't get to do that. You don't. You can do that in your dreams, literally. Spend years developing your strange dreaming type things, and you can fantasize in your dreams about that stuff. But what you have to face is that this moment, you are where you are in this moment. You have to accept that. Otherwise, this video won't make any sense, and you will forever be looking at the grass being greener on the other side. Whatever the other side is for you. Interdimensional travel. Or becoming a coyote and running free in the desert. Whatever fantasies you have in your head, they're all Disney-based fantasies, augmented by reading Castaneda's books and all these other nonsensical Toltec books that you read. Okay? You don't get to run away from this moment. Okay, once we're very clear on that, this topic becomes very relevant, because if you are part of the human collective, this affects you. And there is one thing that is the common thing that Toltec seers have verified throughout the ages, and not just Toltec seers, many different traditions have verified this in their own variations of it. There is one thing that is always the downfall of societies, civilizations, nations, whatever it is. Eventually, the crumbling always comes about with this one paradigm. Can you guess what that paradigm is? Once I state it, you will see, okay. That paradigm is, I'm just doing my job. Or even worse, I was just doing my job. My boss told me to do it. It's illegal. It's within the law. The law created by who? Just doing my job, ma'am. Don't blame me. just doing my job. That paradigm is responsible for wiping out entire species, absolutely off the face of reality, wiping out entire villages, tribes, nations, histories, you name it. That is the one. Just doing my job. Just doing my job. Have you noticed how dumb search engines have become? Have you noticed that? They have become stupid beyond belief. Simple searches are now unable to yield results, coherent results. That's a video in itself about the dead internet thing that's happening. The internet is being deleted systematically. And I'll do another video on that because that also concerns you as a hive member. It concerns you. But let's stick with this one because this is what will topple what you think of as civilization today. It will topple it. It will bring it to that reset. It is being brought forward by minions who are programmed to say, just doing my job. I'll give you a real life example. I bought a pair of shoes. By the way, don't wear conventional shoes. Wear barefoot footwear. There's a company in the UK that I personally use, and I'm not getting any money for this. It's called Vivo Barefoot. I really recommend them. Their customer service is excellent. All my shoes are from them now, since last year. And in fact, once you wear barefoot shoes and your feet, hopefully, if they're not too weakened, have got used to the barefoot walking and everything, you will find that you will be unable to go back to conventional shoes. And these shoes arrived, there was some problem, sent them back. Now they were on my partner Leela's account. I phone them up and I say, shoes have been sent off to you, and could you confirm that they will be arriving and that you'll be sending a new pair or a refund, whichever you choose, it doesn't matter to me. And the lady on the other end, she says, I have to do an identity check on you. I said, really? You're a shoe company. She said, it's for data protection. I cannot talk to you unless you're the account holder of our company. This is a shoe company. And obviously, they are just doing their job. I told her, please tell me that you are a human being and not an algorithm. She said, I'm a human being. I said, no, you're not. You may be you may think of yourself as a human being, but you're behaving like an algorithm. Because there is prior proof. The ticket's been opened on my email. These are my shoes. It's men's shoes. My partner Leela would not use your, why don't you use it? Sorry, sir, it's illegal. Data protection. Now, whenever any of the minions of the Muggle world mention data protection, and I'm not saying Barefoot do that because they're a pretty good company, but it's all this, I'm just doing my job business. Anytime they mention data protection, look, there is no data protection in this world, okay? There's no data protection. There's none. Just release that from your head. Release it. Your phone, open up Google Maps. Just turn direction. And that little thing, that'll turn. How are they able to do that? They can track how you're turning. How do they know which way your face is? How does the phone know which way your face is? Have you thought about that? Yeah. So forget about data protection. There's no data. These are things that the minions have been drilled to say, and laws been put into effect to keep you in a, as you know, to keep you in a fake world. There's no data protection. But she had to use that thing because it's illegal, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, can I talk to your manager, please? Manager tried to call me, didn't, she was very apologetic. She said, yeah, sorry, I understand. We have to do this, and the matter was sorted. But it was a very telling, such a small matter, shoes. And the world hasn't even gone into chipping yet. We're still dealing with external chips. One you carry around in your hand all the time, stuff it in your back pocket or in your purse. That's a chip. That chip's going to go into you very soon. Very soon. And you make no mistake about it, because the minions will just be doing their job on you. You'll be one of those people doing your job on other people. Right? So, that's one example of how perfectly good human being choosing to behave like a minion because just doing my job. Now this becomes very escalated and very emphasized when anyone with a government uniform comes knocking. Just doing my job. I often wonder with our boys. It's our boys. Whose boys? Not my boys. I don't have any boys. Our boys are fighting for us. Where? In Afghanistan. What? Our boys are fighting in Vietnam. Our boys are in Syria. Our boys. Who are these our boys? Who the fuck are these our boys? These are deluded human beings. I often wonder if the CEO tells his squad to go home and shoot their family, because they all have refused to get chipped, and the law is that the entire population must be chipped. Their families are refusing. Please go and arrest them and shoot them. What will these soldiers, our boys, what will our boys do then? Will they just do their job, just like they were just doing their job in Syria, Afghanistan, Vietnam, and all the countless places that these our boys have brought misery to? And if you are thinking that UN troops, peacekeeping force, is actually any measure of peacekeeping is going on, if you really believe the media with these our boys, with food cartons and bringing water to the starving villagers, and man, you shouldn't be watching this channel. This is too advanced for you. Go and just get sorted first with basic realizing basic stuff about this world, right? So just doing my job becomes very, very, very destructive when it comes to anyone wearing state uniforms. Now here's a perfect example of how this works. Town sheriff, right? Nice chap, wonderful, lovely guy. Sees an old lady walking the road, crossing the road, helps her out, and lady says, "Oh, thank you for doing that." And the sheriff goes, "Just doing my job, ma'am." In the evening, he gets a phone call from the FBI. Says, "Oh, that old lady, there's this old lady, and her son is a drug dealer. Please go and bring her in for interrogation. We need to know where the son is." Sheriff goes to the old lady, like, oh, she's the same lady that I helped across the road. I have to bring her in. The only problem is she's just had a stroke and she's in no position to move. But you know what that sheriff's gonna do? Just doing my job. Just doing my job, ma'am. Don't blame me. That's how just doing my job manifests when it comes to uniforms. Now here's a pro tip. What do you say? This is slightly off topic, but it is very relevant. What do you say? What do you say when someone asks you if you are vaccinated? What do you say? Yeah. Is it starting to dawn on you? If you beat your chest and go, oh, I'm pure human, not like you, I pity you. Because when the just doing my jobs start to knock on your door because you went around saying all of that shit, you rue the day that you opened your mouth and beat your chest about it. What do you think a warrior would say? What do you think I say? Now, we won't pursue this further on YouTube, but that's what I say. I recommend you start saying the same. Blend in. Don't beat your chest about stuff that will come and bite you in the ass when I'm just doing my job comes knocking on your door. In a collapsing civilization scenario as it is happening in front of your very eyes, the worst knock, the worst doorbell is not when a group of psychos come knocking. Those can be dealt with. Friends come knocking for more food or whatever it is they want. That's fine. The worst knock, the knock you don't want, is when someone with a state uniform of any kind, it doesn't really matter whether it's from the medical uniform right up to the army, any state uniform, anything. It's the worst knock. You don't want that knock on your door. You don't. Not in a civilization collapsing scenario. So these are for you to be aware of. Don't get too caught up in fear and all this other stuff. Just be aware. What are the priorities in life? Now, this is for you who have done this yourself. I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. Now, I'm just doing my job is fantastic for machines. Machines should say that. Otherwise, they're not. That's not functioning properly. A part of a machine that's not doing its job, it's bad news. Also, in nature, bees, any hive, any insects, that should give you a little bit of a pause about insect food coming to your local food market very soon. Because we become what we eat. Didn't think about that, did you? So, insects, hives, they operate on the same paradigm. I'm just doing my job and I don't want to be doing anything else because I'm just doing my job is what I was born to do. And that should happen. An ant hive cannot survive on individuality. I just can't do it. Beehives, nothing. They sacrifice individuality for, which basically means I'm just doing my job for, going about their business, being a bee or a ant hive, whatever it is. But you're not an ant, you're not a bee, and most of all, you're not a machine. You're not a machine. You are meant to balance critical thinking assessing each situation for what it is, because it's life unfolding in front of you, not I'm just doing my, you can't fit life into I'm just doing my job. That's when destruction happens. Can't do that. And guess what you end up sacrificing when you act out, I'm just doing my job. Do you know what you sacrifice? And it is what makes you you. Without that, you are simply a machine. Soulless machine. It is your conscience. Very rarely will conscience and I'm just doing my job come together. Very rarely in this world. Because this world is not built on conscience. It's built on everything other than conscience. So these are heavy choices. Life will ask you to choose. You've been in with the police force for 25 years. Okay. Life will ask you each time, you're going to follow your conscience or you're going to do your job. And be very proud of it. I've served my nation and I've done my job. Yeah? Where's your conscience? I was watching a video of this sniper who has been in every war that has ever happened, and he's like on YouTube. The thing was, the advertising was that he's a real life Rambo, not Rambo, but a real life badass type of deal. And this gentleman was truly a badass. He had 500 kills and that kind of thing. And it was like watching someone from a video game. This fella was so impoverished in his humanness that to cover it up, he had, in the interview, he had to describe his achievements, 500 kills or whatever the hell kills they were, as exactly that. Targets. They weren't human beings, they're targets. Just like for the white coats, they are subjects. Subject 316 responded with extreme agitation. That system cannot work on conscience. Cannot. This chap also happened to have extreme PTSD and all sorts of other things that only someone who can see will be able to see that there's nothing badass going on inside this man's world. His deeds are badass according to the Disney movie that people think life is. Right? Because the politician has stamped a paper to say it is okay for you to kill 500 people. You and I go around killing 500 people. Most psychopaths don't get to kill 500 people before they're shut down. This man is on YouTube. You can search it. 500 targets, and he was describing how he's such a shot and very sober guy, and everyone was in the comments was suitably impressed. Wow, I wish I could be like you. And all I could feel was pity for this badass. I'm sure his fellow soldiers think he lives in a world where he's badass. He's a Rambo man. Right? He knows all about guns and he's an elite sniper and he's served his country. And it's all absolute spiritual impoverishment. when this man meets his death, there will be no Viking Game of Thrones kind of scenario going on at that moment. Real life, my friends, is very different. And real death is very different. Someone could argue, he has seen life, he has killed many, and how is he different? He's a true badass. Okay, according to your worldview, which was given to you. Not according to the worldview of the Toltec warrior. That is a prime example of I'm just doing my job, leading to incredible destruction. Now the scenario changes. If the same Mr. Badass had killed 500 people who were coming to steal his livestock, kidnap his daughter, self-protection, self-preservation, and he was making his own decisions, not politicians making his decisions for him. The warrior would, now that's a badass. That's a true badass. The warrior would salute him. Man, you truly are a badass. What can I learn from you? But in this scenario, totally Disneyfied and corrupted by this depraved, decrepit world of the parasite. For the warrior, that man is not a badass, he's a beggar. There is no personal power there. He may kill the warrior with one blow. It doesn't matter. Doesn't make him empowered in the least. There's a lot of work to be done there before he can get up to basic levels of sanity, because his inner world is so corrupted by his deeds. And that's just one example. Throughout the ages, empires, civilizations have fallen because I'm just doing my job. So I challenge you, Mr. Big Shot, Miss Wonder Woman in the healthcare system, you've been a neurosurgeon or whatever else you think you are, nursing and giving old people genetic modification jabs purely for the profit of the pharmaceutical cartel. Just doing your job? Well, here's my challenge to you. Are you strong enough to look at your conscience? Let's see if you can match your conscience with your deeds. And if you can, I salute you. Chances are you can't. Chances are your conscience has been killed a long time ago, with you as a willing party. I'll leave you with another real life example. Lady who comes, a friend of ours who comes to clean the house for us. We're just talking, and she's very busy. She's doing care work, training for care work, something like that, social care work or something. She says, I have to go get my third jab. I said, really? Oh, okay. She said, yeah, I have to because of work. I said, yeah. I said, you know what I think you should do? In order to make sure that you remain safe, because she started going on about, I had COVID and, it was horrible. My friend had it. Everyone's heard this script. It's the same script. Everyone's heard this script. Why is it that the world over are saying the same damn thing again and again to everyone, people like you and me? Everyone's friend has had it. And then I had it. It was a horrible experience, so I'm getting the jab. But not really. You're not getting the jab for that, are you? You're getting the jab for work. So why are you bringing your health issues in there? You just to bolster up your argument? You don't need to. It should be reason enough if you're clear. But your conscience isn't clear, is it? So I said to her, you know what I think you should do? I don't think you're safe enough. Personally, I think you should take the jab every 6 months. And I said it very seriously. I was like, I feel concerned about you. She said, I've got weak lungs. I said, yeah, exactly. You need to take a jab every 6 months. She said, yeah, I used to do that for the flu. I said, yeah, exactly. The flu ones you need to double. Don't take just one jab. You need to take 2 jabs, because nowadays, with everything, the GMOs and everything, it's not as effective anymore. So you need to double your jab. I was really serious. I was really getting my kicks out. Double your jabs, and absolutely get every 6 months, get a top up of your COVID jabs. Just just to be really on the safe side. And that way you also can get any job in the world. People will really love you because you're so jabbed up. And I think it's a really good course of action. At that point, she was kind of wondering, am I serious or not? And I left it there, Just doing my job. I have to get them for my work. Well, change your work. Or move according to your conscience. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? On that note, let me know your experience with just doing my job. Whether it's your own experience, whether it's someone else's experience, whether someone else did their job on you. Let me know in the comments. How did that feel to you? And if you did your job on someone else, how did that feel to you? Were you allowing yourself to feel? Working at the coffee shop and you refused to deal with someone who wasn't wearing a pie hole mask? Just doing your job, weren't you? Did you consider your own spiritual feelings at that point? Let us know in the comments. On that note, walk in freedom, and I shall see you in the next video. Subscribe, come to the masterclasses. This video is part of the masterclass, and then now we will discuss, and I will show them further some slides and video stuff that is exclusively for the masterclass. So we're going to go much more in depth now. This is just a little taster here in YouTube video. And I shall see you next time. Bye for now.